Thank you for those who have been tuning in. And if you miss anything here on Twitch, just go over and check my YouTube channel. And I post everything that I stream here on Twitch on YouTube. And I'll be adding more YouTube content that's a little more structured. And I'm going to be introducing some worksheets to help you and kind of guide you through some steps. So today I wanted to share with you something about perspective. When you feel stuck, you got to get perspective. What do I mean by that? Okay, so I was trying to move some stuff that was on my dining room table, and I figured out that one of my cats didn't like the smell of it because it had come out of storage and into the house. So the cat peed on the dining room table. That's what cats do, right? And then the pee was next to all the electronics, and it just, thank goodness, it only got on one little wire, not the ends. Nothing was corrupted. Everything was fine. It was annoying, and then I had to find a new place for everything. So I had to clean up the wire and clean everything up and figure out a storage thing for it and then put it somewhere. And it was more annoying than anything else. But when I was communicating with my husband about where to put the stuff, I asked him if we had enough room in a cabinet. And instead of, like, he had already made one trip to the cabinet, so he had already assessed whether or not we had room in there or not. And I'm busy, cleaning up the cat pee and trying to gather all the stuff. And I asked, because I've got like 2 more loads of stuff to put away. And I said, "Hey, honey, do you have any more room in that cabinet?" And he said, "I don't know." And I was like, "What? How do you not know? You're standing in front of it. Like, tell me if you have room or not so I can give you more stuff or not. Otherwise, I got to go look in the closet over there, and I got to go look in the drawer over there, and I got to find another place." So I didn't realize it, but I was like panicking because we had just made food and we were trying to eat our lunch, and the lunch is getting cold and the coffee's getting cold, and everything was happening at once. So I'm getting more and more frustrated. He's on the other side of the room trying to deal with the situation as best he can. And I'm yelling across the room, "What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know?" Okay. So obviously we're like having a little thing. And then it dawned on me that that's all about perspective. That from my point of view, I couldn't understand why he couldn't give me the answer I wanted. And from his point of view, he turns around, looks at me, and doesn't understand why I'm not being more patient, and why I don't understand why he's dealing with something. It's all about where you are from. We both had a common problem, right? But from my point of view, I couldn't understand him. And from his point of view, he couldn't understand me. That's the essence of any disagreement, argument, fight, whatever you want to call it. That was just a simple disagreement, a simple miscommunication, and it could have blown up into something huge. People usually blow things up into something huge, but instead we decided to stop. Just stop and say, "Whoa, wait a minute. We're not communicating properly. I don't understand what's going on over there. You don't understand what's going on over here. Let's meet in the middle and figure this out." So that's what we did. We huddled up and we were like, "What do you mean you don't know what's over there?" He's like, "Well, I don't know how much I can fit in there." Oh, now "I don't know" makes more sense. Not just "I don't know." It's "I don't know if I can fit more in there. I don't know what you have waiting for me. Let me do a quick measurement and come over here and see what else we've got." And then everything was fine. Everything fit. Everything was great. And then we had our lunch and our coffee and everything was happy. But while we were having that miscommunication, we had to recognize that it was our perception of the problem from 2 different perspectives that was making our reality different. Because you have to remember, perception is reality. So from your perspective, your perception of the problem is the reality. But everybody else is going to have their own perception of it. And that's where arguments happen. That's where we have to allow everyone to have their opinion and their perception of it, because from everyone's point of view, they're right. They're absolutely right. So right fighting doesn't make any sense. It doesn't create harmony. It just creates more problems because we're all right from our own point of view. We are right for us, but we're not right for you unless we can agree. And humans love to agree. They love to find one and then another and another and another and another. And then we've all got a group, and now we have a blog, and now we have a chat room, and now we have all kinds of fun things that we never meant to have in the first place. We never intended. But now we've got a whole consensus. We've got a whole group. And now we can go pushing people around saying, "Well, we have a whole group of people that say this, and we have a whole group of people that say that. And then it gets kind of ugly, gets kind of messy, or it turns into a fun football game. It's all about perception. It's all about perspective. Okay, Einstein was right. It's the theory of relativity. It is one thing relative to another thing. So you have to understand what you're looking at and where you're looking at it from. Now, step 2. The other part of allowing and not arguing, and when you allow, you release your resistance and you allow the universe to bring things to you that you want. When you argue, you're resisting and you're putting up roadblocks between you and what you want. When you are looking at another person and blaming them, you've got to do what Jesus said to do, right? So you're looking at the splinter in someone else's eye and you're ignoring the log in yours. And I misunderstood that. I thought a log meant like a huge log you put on the fire. No, it's a bundle of sticks, a huge bundle of sticks. So imagine like just huge pointy bundle, like a bunch of pencils just shoved into your eye, and somebody else has a tiny little splinter in theirs. So the cute little saying is, when I point at you, there's like all these fingers pointing back at me. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a cliche for a reason. So when I go to blame you, I better be willing to turn that right back around on myself and blame myself. So I blame myself. I want to blame you because you don't agree with me. You have a different point of view. And I want to blame you for everything that's going wrong in my life. But ultimately, I can only take 100% responsibility and blame myself, because then I can change it. So we talked a little bit about this in our last recording, our last live stream, and now I'm following up on it. I just thought about it another way that might help you. So I'm to go into a different gear with this, go to a deeper level. Once you're willing to take 100% responsibility for yourself, and every time you go to blame someone else, you turn it back around on yourself and you say, I blame myself for this misunderstanding. How can I improve my communication? What can I do differently that can improve this situation? How can I be the solution? Suddenly you have power. Suddenly you're no longer the victim. Suddenly your communication with another person will get instantly better. And when you feel this vibration and you raise your vibration, you raise your frequency to a new level, you don't want to go back to the old level. It's not going to feel nice. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel natural anymore. For all you gamers out there, and if you're on Twitch, you probably are familiar with a computer. Let me put it this way. When I first started gaming and I had a very, very powerful laptop to game on, that was good enough. Okay, and being mobile was fun. But then, we went ahead and we got ourselves a beautiful desktop. And it was just a nice little, $1,200 on sale for $1,000 for Christmas kind of thing. All the bells and whistles and the LEDs, and it was great. And we gamed on that. That was fun for a while. And then my husband was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go for that build. So he did. He went for this amazing build, and he has an amazing computer. And he told me 3 years ago, well, you know what? I know what's coming out 3 years from now, and I know I'm going to want a new build. So he's working on a new build. And the one that he is currently using is still going to be fantastic. And the new one that he's building is just a little bit above it. But he doesn't want to go back down to the other levels. He doesn't want to go back down to gaming on a laptop or gaming on a less powerful computer. As he steps it up and he's got more power, more processing power, things are going faster, his gaming experience is going to get better and better. So why would he want to go backwards to an older model, an older version that's going to be slower? He wouldn't. He's not going to feel comfortable there. He's going to take his game to another level. And then, I inherit the other computer, right? So I take my game to the next level too. But in this case, we're just saying that when we go to that next level, think of it emotionally, okay? Think of it emotionally. So if I go to my next emotional level and I stop blaming other people and I start concentrating on where am I to blame? What responsibility do I have in this situation? Then the next time I get in a little disagreement, the next time I have a difference of opinion, the next time I start to feel that tension of panic or upset or disagreement, that I can feel the resistance. I'm now tuned into it and I can feel it. I now have choices and I have to make those choices. I have to take full and complete responsibility. Sorry, my water bottle. Sorry. I have to take, here, I'll show you. There you go. Cover up my brand, but it's just my water. When I start to notice that my frequency is not feeling right and that something is causing resistance in my life, I have to be completely aware of that. I now have to take full and complete responsibility for it. And I have to stop that forward momentum into a vibration I don't want to go into. I have to stop the resistance and I have to learn to relax and back off that situation, relax into a better frame of mind, a better way of communicating, just a relaxed state that where I'm not fighting for anything. I'm just allowing. I'm allowing the other person to have their opinion. I'm allowing the miscommunication to exist for a moment. And I'm just going to let everything settle down and let everything calm down. And then I'll try to communicate again. And I have found in the past that when I do this, it's incredibly successful because I am not pushing. And once I stop pushing, the other person stops defending. And their perception of me is a lot better. Now they're perceiving me as calm, reasonable, kind, easygoing, laid back. They're like, wow, you're such a good listener. I really feel heard. I feel understood. I feel safe. And then the walls come down and they're willing to talk to you about how they feel. And the miscommunication gets cleared up very quickly because you're not defending a position anymore. You're simply listening. You're allowing the other person to have their feelings, have their point of view, have their opinion. You're not judging it. You're not trying to change it. You're not trying to argue against it. And this makes life a lot easier in the here and now. Once you experience that level of calm, you have to then establish that as your level. Just like the computers, you're not going back to a less powerful computer. You're now at the top of your game. So now, if this is your new emotional level, you're not going to go back to old behavior. You won't allow yourself to go back to that old behavior. You are human. It could happen. You could slide all the way back down to the lowest level and then have to take responsibility for that. And that doesn't feel good. But it's faster to correct your behavior if you're taking responsibility for it. Then when you climb out of that hole and you come right back to the top, things are easier. They feel better. And every time you challenge yourself to go to a new level, you're going to be rewarded with even better everything. Even better everything. And every level just gets better and better and better. So I suppose after a year or two, you're going to be amazed at how you can handle anything without getting overly upset. And you will get to that point. Will you still have buttons that get pushed? Yes, but you don't have to react to them anymore. You can be calm. This also applies to your past. Once you are fully comfortable with dealing with stress in the present moment and not reacting to it, but giving yourself a moment, thinking things through, staying calm, and responding to it, not reacting to it. Once you're responding to your present moment and the challenges and stresses that come at you, then we can take it to a new level. There's 2 new levels after you practice just getting control of yourself in the moment. What really helps for you to get control of yourself in the moment is meditating. 15 minutes right when you wake up, 15 minutes before you go to bed. Other people like to get out of bed, brush their teeth, get dressed, maybe have some coffee or some breakfast, and then meditate. I like to start like right when I wake up and get my what is it called? My Audible book. It's a pre-recorded thing that I do. I have an app for it. I have a book that's great. I have lots of ways to meditate. And I have another book. So here's some recommendations. One is The Creation Frequency. Read the book or listen to the audio book. And then there's an app, Creation Frequency. After you go through the book, it teaches you how to use the app. Really simple, really fun. It creates the background music. It creates the sound of ocean waves, and you get to relax through everything and breathe. And then you record your own goals on there, your own way of meditating, and explains how to do the whole thing. It's great. And then you relax into it. That's if I want to do a full 15 minutes in the morning or 15 minutes before I go to sleep. That one's fantastic. I have another one, Getting into the Vortex, from Abraham Hicks. And that one is also fantastic. 4 major kind of quadrants, your overall well-being, finance, physical well-being, and relationships. And you can go through them in order, one per day. And then after a couple of weeks of going through them in that exact order, you can mix it up and do what you feel like you need for that day. And then I have this other book called Dear Universe, and I got the audiobook, and this one's fantastic because it's just little 3 to 5 minute meditations, mini meditations. And it covers, like literally over 100 different positives and negatives that you could possibly think of. So it covers anything from abundance to abandonment, and it goes right down from A to Z. So this one's fantastic. Any mood that you could possibly be in and you want to fix it instantly, you could literally in the middle of a fight say, stop, I need 5 minutes. And then go somewhere private, maybe the bathroom, right? And look up what you're feeling in that moment. Do a quick meditation, come back right as rain, and then say, you know what? I take full responsibility for that miscommunication. I'm so sorry about this fight. Let's start over. What I meant to say was, and then say it in a kind way. So meditation is a key to getting control of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, and especially your words. Your words have power. They manifest your destiny. They manifest your life. They bring your thoughts and feelings into reality. So if you don't start watching what you are thinking, feeling, and saying, you will never have control over what you're manifesting in your life. So if what you want to manifest is your bliss, then it starts with your feelings, because we have to get in touch with a calm, blissful, joyful space within us in order to start speaking that way and in order to manifest it in all areas of our life. So people get hung up on one of two things, either love/relationship or money/career. And what they're really saying is, I want someone to care about me and connect with me. I'm feeling lonely and I want connection. Or they're saying, I feel powerless and I want status and power, and money will get me there. Career will get me there. I'll climb that corporate ladder, or I'll do what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and I'll make millions of dollars, and then everyone will respect me, and then they'll listen to me, and then I won't feel powerless. And when you're feeling lonely, I want love and a relationship so that then I won't feel bad about myself, and then I won't feel lonely, and then I won't feel scared or abandoned. It doesn't work that way. You're going to take whoever you are on that journey with you, and you're just going to drag other people with you, and you're just going to spend a lot more money and create a lot more problems. So the best way to start is with yourself at your base level, filling yourself up with those good feelings, learning how to tune into the universe and make yourself happy, taking full responsibility for your own happiness. And then it starts to show up in your life with the people who love you because you love yourself and them, and that it's easy to love you. With your business or your career, because you know why you're there and what you're doing. You know what your purpose is. You know who you're serving and why. And I'm not telling you to be a servant. I'm in any capacity. I'm saying you are purposeful in whatever you do, because it feels good to do that job. It feels good to be of service in that way. When I'm here broadcasting and the recordings, I hope that I am of service to you. I'm doing this because I'm passionate about it, because this is a new way for me to live that I've been working on for years. And now it's getting easier and easier. And I want to share where I'm at with you and show you where I'm going, to give you the hope, to give you the belief that you can do this too. So today, every day I'm listening to recordings, and every day I'm reading books, and every day I'm getting in the right frame of mind, and every day I'm meditating, and every day I'm learning. So I'm going to come here and share what I've learned with you in the hopes that you'll learn, you'll grow, you'll get to know yourself in a new way, you'll fall in love with yourself and what your purpose is, and then maybe you'll be sharing this. Not, you don't have to do this on Twitch and YouTube, but you can. And you can just follow my example and others. It's easy when you get here. I mean, a year ago, I couldn't imagine doing this. I thought about it and I wanted to, but I didn't feel qualified. I didn't feel like I had anything to say that would be of value. I didn't know how to do it. And one step at a time, one miraculous step at a time, led me to here. And it's okay if I have one person listening and getting something from it, or 1 million. If I can reach through this medium and help you and make you feel special and important and connected to the universe, if I can help you understand that you are loved and you are worthy and you have value, then my purpose is fulfilled. And I'm going to feel really good sharing this with you. I'm not going to feel really good because you do something with it. I'm feeling good now. You see, the ripple effect is later. It's for you. I hope you feel good if you listen and tune in and it aligns with you and things click, and then you're like, I get it. I'm feeling better. I feel good. You see, the part that's about me is now. I'm sharing this with you right now, and I'm living this way, and I feel great. And when I felt bad earlier, I recognized that I usually feel really good. And right now I feel really bad. And I don't like feeling really bad. I want to feel really good again. So I had to get back into alignment. And a quick meditation later, and I was right as rain. And I didn't even need to go retreat to another room and listen to something. I've been doing this so long. I just did a quick one in my head. I was like, whoa, I need to steady. I need to just get myself together real quick. So let me just center. Breathe. Remember that there's another opinion in this room and it's valid. And let's see if we can communicate better. And that's all it took. So once you get good at this, it is a way of living. It's not that you have to meditate for a long period of time every day. It helps. And then you can shorten it down to 5 minutes or 2 minutes. It doesn't take very long. I mean, some people can do it in 30 seconds and then boom, they're right out the door. Because once you get it, you get it. You feel yourself in alignment and you're good. And then you just relax and stay in that alignment. And it feels like hard work at first. But eventually you don't want to be working hard at this. You want to be relaxing into it. You want to be allowing. Because it doesn't just work for your present. And your present creates your future. It also works for stuff that's been bugging you for years about your past. So maybe you messed up. Maybe you had a failure. Maybe you had a falling out with someone who was important to you, and you just can't let it go. It bothers you, and you think about it all the time, and it's occupying space in your head and your heart and your life, and maybe everybody in your life is sick of hearing about it. So what do you do about that? You apply these principles to that, just like you do to your present moment. And every time it comes up, you just, what I like to say, bless and release. You go, well, thank you for sharing that, brain. Okay. Or heart. All right. I had that thought. I had that feeling. Now I'm going to distract myself to something that makes me feel good. And that's it. It's really, truly that simple. It's hard at first because you've trained your brain to think about it. It's just a habit you're not aware of. And you've thought about it so often in the same way and told yourself the same story for years. And that's the story and that's the way it is. And everyone in your life knows it. And they could probably repeat it back to you verbatim, which is not a good thing. It means you've been saying it too much. It means you've been ruminating on it too much. It means you're obsessed with it. And it's time to let it go. Because how can you make room for something new if you don't let go of the past? And the way that swinging door works is the middle part is you. You just take full responsibility for what happened, even if someone wronged you. Even if you feel betrayed. Even if you feel like vengeful thoughts against that person. You just take complete responsibility for it. And you look at what you learned from the situation. And you boil it down to the fact that Well, I guess I was not mature enough to understand what I was doing in that moment, and I did not allow for that other person to have the space they needed or their perception, their point of view. I wasn't allowing it. Maybe I was being too harsh, and maybe I was being too stubborn, and maybe I messed some things up, and maybe I could have handled that situation better. And if I had it to do over again, I would. And then you're no longer a victim, and you're no longer attracting that victim mentality for someone to take advantage of you. So if you walked around feeling unworthy and playing the victim for years, and then you're complaining now that, oh, all these people took advantage of me. Well, yeah, of course they did, because you allowed it. And now you're practicing these new principles, and you have self respect, and you feel worthy, and you are practicing self love and self care, and your vibration has raised, and you are operating on a new frequency. Those people can't hurt you anymore. They'll scatter to the wind, and they'll find new victims. There's plenty of them, but they won't bother you anymore, because you're not playing that game anymore. You are no longer a victim, so you cannot be taken advantage of. That's how this game works. So when we're working on the present moment, we're creating a new future full of blissful opportunities. And when things bother us from our past, we have an opportunity to heal it and make it right. Neville Goddard talks about it in a different way. He says, go back to the moment that upset you. And before you go to sleep at night, imagine it the way you wish it would have gone. Imagine yourself in that same exact circumstance, but rewrite the script. Imagine that you said all the right things, and go ahead and say them in your little play, your little movie inside your head. And then imagine that the other person said those nice things back to you that you always wanted to hear. And the two of you had a reconciliation, and everything went right in that moment. And now you're best friends again, or your family relationship is healed, or the marriage was resolved amicably. And even if you are still divorced and happily divorced, you can get the satisfaction that you crave from yourself and the universe. Try it and watch the magic happen, because after you release all that negativity and you allow it to be what it is, and then you kind of work on changing it for the better, and you practice love for yourself and others, magic can happen, because you're allowing the universe to work in your favor. You're allowing love to come into your heart and come into your life, and allowing that healing energy to work, not just between you, but you and that person, because you do psychically connect, if you want to phrase it that way, or the frequency. You're still tuning into that radio wave that's got a connection, a hold between you and that other person, because there's still love there, or you wouldn't still have a connection. Even in hate and anger, there's still love, or you wouldn't care enough to be angry. You wouldn't care enough to still be hurt. So there's obviously still a connection, a vibration of love. And if you simply amplify that vibration of love, turn up the volume on that frequency of love, it heals you, and it heals the other person, and it heals the situation. Because we forget all the time, time is a construct. Space is a construct. There's really no space between me and that person I'm harboring that grudge against. There's really no time, and no time has passed. So every time I think about it, I make it the now all over again. I re-victimize myself, and I reconnect myself to that person and all that pain and suffering all over again. Why would I want to waste my time doing that? They're not going to change unless I change. And here I am trying to get control of a situation the wrong way, from the wrong perspective, which is anger and revenge. And I was taught a long time ago that anger is a poison that I drink, and I expect the other person to die. And all it does is poison me. So I can't worry about what that other person is doing. I can only care about myself and worry about what I'm thinking and feeling and doing. And if I can heal that situation, I want to. I want to free up that space for new, better things to come into my life. Or maybe I love that person so much I want them back in my life, but I want to be better for them. And I'm hoping they'll be better because I'm better. And if they come back into my life, it's because they're on the same top level frequency that I am. And then we're going to have a great relationship. And if they're not, if they're somewhere down lower than me, then they're not going to touch me and they're not going to hurt me anymore because I'm way above it and they cannot come up to touch me. And they can't hurt me because I'm not coming down there. They got to come up to me. And if they do all the work I've done to come up here, they're not going to want to hurt me by the time they get up here because they're going to understand what I understand. They're going to want love and peace and harmony as much as I do. So the whole trick, the whole key to allowing everyone to just be who they are and do what they do, and everyone gets scared and thinks only negative, horrible consequences of allowing. But really, when you think about it, if everyone is healing themselves and taking full responsibility for themselves and not playing the victim and not blaming other people, and they're working on loving themselves and giving themselves everything they want and manifesting their own purpose and bliss and their own joy, what are we worried about? What we're worried about is allowing people to do bad things and to hurt us. But we're not going to attract that anymore because we're going to attract helpful people who are loving and kind and generous and tolerant and patient and wonderful and creative and want to give us happy things, want to give us love and adoration and cooperation. They want to fund our ideas and they want to be a part of our ideas and they want to be just as creative and wonderful as we are. So it sounds really naive and simplistic. It is simplistic. It's not naive. And once you start experiencing it and really living this way, it's your whole perception changes and your reality changes and people become a lot nicer and a lot more helpful. And I think it's mainly because you change. As I become more helpful, as I become kinder, as I become more loving, the world around me gets better and the people around me do the same thing and reflect back to me the same way. So I truly believe in this way of living. It is not always easy. And I do have my own human moments like I did today, where I did have a miscommunication and an argument with my amazingly loving, absolutely wonderful husband. And that was what snapped me out of it because I love him and adore him and I know how wonderful he is. In the middle of arguing with him, I suddenly heard myself and I was like, I sound like an idiot. I'm fighting with him over nothing. I need to stop. I need to calm down. I need to listen with better ears. And once I did that, it was easy. It was very easy for us to communicate, work out our misunderstanding, and get back to our normal, loving, happy life together. We get along beautifully and we're each other's best friends and we have a great time all the time together. So it's really weird when we have a disagreement. It makes me feel odd. It makes me feel like, what is going on? This is weird. I'm in the twilight zone of our relationship. And that's exactly what happens. And then I snap back into my perception of love and I look at him with loving eyes and I go, oh, right. I'm supposed to be nice to you. And I'm being a little rude right now. So I'm sorry. Let me say that again, a different way. That's all I've got for you right now. Just wanted to share that little moment with you and tie it all back to what we've been talking about. If you want to check out my previous VODs here on Twitch until they disappear, and if they do, check out my YouTube channel and you can catch up with what we've been building on. And like I said, I'm working on some standalone videos to post to YouTube with some worksheets attached that'll help you with these little incremental things that might be big concepts and difficult to get your head around. I'm going to break it down into bite-sized pieces. So if you're suffering from anxiety or depression, or you're just feeling lackluster in your life and you're struggling to get to where you want to be, this is the channel for you. These are the lessons. These are the exercises that will free you. And don't just take my word for it. There's a lot of information on the internet and a lot of videos available, and I've learned from all of them. They're very helpful for me to, I keep them in my little collection. I highly recommend you do your own research. And if you like the way I say things and you want some one-on-one interaction and some questions answered, I'm always here for you. that's the nice thing about starting out small. I'm hoping to make really big connections with people and help them, because once people get bigger on their channel, it's harder to connect with them. So there's a little advantage, or a big advantage, to starting out little, starting out small. And then you can look back at these fun videos years later and think, wow, look at that set. So much better now. So I hope that this has helped you in any way, small or big. And I'd love for you to share your experience with me. If you have questions, let me know. I'm available. I'm here for you. I'd love to hear from you. So I hope that the rest of your day is fantastic, and hopefully you'll be chatting with me soon. Until next time, be well.